Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. I'm John Playstead, one of the presidents of Microlumbia, which I think many of you are familiar with. But if not, our mission on campus is really to educate the next generation of impact investing leaders. We're excited to welcome today Shahryar Reza and Nadeem Hussain, who are deeply involved in both impact investing and financial inclusion in emerging markets. Shah and Nadeem join us from Planet N, which is a group of companies focused on having impact in emerging markets through entrepreneurship and technology. To date, they've added 24 companies to their portfolio across a variety of sectors, including e-commerce, fintech, edtech, mobile television, retail, and renewable energy, with a special focus also on financial services and financial inclusion. Today, we're excited to hear from them about their experiences working in the sector. First, we'll welcome Shah, who is the president of Planet N and Albion AI, which is a data science and artificial intelligence company based out of the UAE. Shah will speak to us a little bit more about Planet N's social impact orientation and the many internship opportunities they have available and ways that Columbia students can get involved. Following Shah, we'll welcome Nadeem to the stage. Nadeem has had over 3 decades of experience working and founding companies in financial inclusion. He's the CEO and founder of Planet N today and of Telenor Microfinance in Pakistan. Recognized as one of the most socially impactful banks by the World Bank, Telenor offers affordable and accessible financial services to underserved customers in Pakistan through products like microcredit and branchless banking solutions. Most recently, Telenor actually received an investment from Alibaba and Ant Financial, which acquired a 45% stake as its first entrance into the Pakistani market. So it's a major player having a real impact on customers in that country. Nadeem will talk to us about the interconnected nature of social impact and entrepreneurship in emerging markets and dive deeply into what's happening and some of the trends in financial inclusion and financial services. Specifically, data science-driven financial inclusion at companies like TEZ and Nano Lender in Pakistan. So let's extend a warm welcome to Shah, who will kick it off.
Thanks, John, for the introduction and for the whole Microlumbia team for hosting us and for all of you for taking the time to be here. It's very encouraging to see that even in the few years since my INSEAD Wharton MBA, the level of interest in social impact has really increased, and I think that's very encouraging to see. And I think you guys are onto the right thing because it's a very exciting sector. And so, there's a few interconnected themes that Nadeem is going to elaborate on, and I'm just going to give you a very quick bird's eye overview. But essentially, financial inclusion, development through digitization, innovation, and the emerging markets tech revolution is really what we're going to be discussing. The way we see it, the current technological, the way we see it, there have been 3 stages of the technological revolution in the early modern and contemporary period. The first, obviously, is the Industrial Revolution. The second is the Electronic Revolution, and now we are having a digital revolution. These revolutions shape the whole world, but they most fundamentally shape those societies that develop as a result of that technology. So if you look at Western Europe and the US in the late 18th and 19th centuries, they developed through industrialization. And the real change there, and the real impact on society was the impact of mass production on society. And no one thought that the countries leading that, if you had asked anyone in the early 1800s who was going to be the biggest mass producer in the world, you'd have said the countries with the big mass producing legacy systems like India, China, the Middle East, which accounted for around 85% of the world's GDP. You wouldn't have thought that a rain-drenched tiny island off the coast of France, which had a wall to keep out the barbarians, the UK would end up being the leading country in that revolution. Similarly, for the electronic revolution, no one thought that war-ravaged Japan and South Korea would end up leading that revolution and having their societies completely transform as a result of that. That was consumer product based, whereas the first revolution was mass production. This revolution we're seeing now, it's development through digitization, and the countries that are really benefiting are the countries that don't have legacy financial systems in place. And the nature of this development is a lot of it is fintech driven, and a lot of it is recreating a financial sector from scratch, unencumbered by the legacy systems which we have in developed markets. So obviously innovation plays a huge role in that. And the track record of Nadeem and Tamir and Telenor Bank, which was our previous company, was innovating a form of microfinance together with our telco partner, Telecom, that was incredibly scalable and managed to have an exit to a non-social impact investor such as Alibaba, despite touching the lives of 20 million people. And for us, that's true social impact because it's truly double bottom line. Now, the speed of innovation in each of these revolutions obviously gets exponentially faster, and I think it's going to be very interesting for you when you hear the Tamir Telenor story of those innovations that the Nadeem and the Tamir team put in about a decade or a little bit more than a decade ago, compared to the new fintech innovations Planet N Group is looking at now. And it's really quite astounding, the change in structure, the change in scalability, and the change in choice for the financially excluded that's happened even over the last decade. So the part of it will be sort of looking at what's happened in the recent past, and part of it will be looking at how financial inclusion is going to shape in the future. And at the end of the talk, I'm going to come back and talk about Planet N Group in a little bit more detail and internship opportunities as well. So thank you all for your time.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. Great to see so many people interested in bottom of the pyramid financial inclusion. I was mentioning to a smaller group earlier on, when I was going to school, financial inclusion was, exclusion was not a term known at that time. But to get a sense of the, people over here, how many of you want to start your own company? Okay, 5, 6, 7, all right. How many of you want to be an impact investor? All right. And how many of you actually want to do microfinance? Not just invest in it, but be in an operating company which is doing microfinance. Right. Right. All right. So I'm going to take you through two case studies, live actually case studies. One is we mentioned how Tamir Bank was created, how the challenges were in creating that entity. Who did we exit to? What social impact did we have? What technology we used? And then I'm going to get into what are we using right now, which is radically different, which is going to have a much bigger impact in terms of reduction of financial exclusion than Tamir did. Although Tamir moved 6% of Pakistan's GDP in 1 year in terms of transaction value through its domestic remittance product. So the impact investing guys can see hand again. Okay, so I'm going to start with you. And the people who want to start their business? Alright, so you guys are with me. So we're going to start this business and we're going to challenge these impact investors guys whether they want to invest in our business or not. And the other guys can see, whichever side they want to be on. So imagine there's a team of people who have 27 years of banking experience, no microfinance experience. So the closest they come to microfinance is maybe consumer lending, where they've done credit card, mortgages, but don't have actually any microfinance experience. Want to come back and start a bank in Pakistan. Minimum capital requirement is $10 million as per regulatory requirement. And these guys say that we're going to put in $1 million of our own money, and they want to raise the $9 million. So your impact investors, they claim that because they are city bankers, they can walk on water and not get wet. And the current people in the country who are doing microfinance are a bunch of idiots because they are city bankers and they know this stuff, and they want you to invest in their company. and they say they're going to create the most efficient, the most profitable, the most impactful microfinance bank in the next 10 years, and they claim that they're going to be ranked in the top 10 or top 50 microfinance banks in the world, and they're going to be the number one bank in Pakistan. So you guys going to look at that? What are you going to say about it? You guys have never done microfinance, you know, why should we believe in you? Impact investors, come on. What are you going to ask them?
I was an entrepreneur, but
Which side you want to be on? You want to be creating the bank or, doing the investments?
I raised my hand for being an entrepreneur, but if I were to look at this team of city bankers trying to start this microfinance region, I would not back it.
You will not back that. Fair enough. And why would that be the case?
Because I feel microfinance has its own set of challenges, collection and creating community while they would pay back and stuff like that. And they have very different mindset of consumer banking, which I think those ideas would not probably translate into microfinance, and they would overstate their confidence from it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think I would put a bit of a caveat on it. I think having that cultural competence of what's going on in the market would be a huge part. So you're in the city bank for 27 years, you have the ability to come back and adapt to the norms of Pakistan, right? So you probably have a technical skill set which is valuable, but do you have the cultural skill set to match that?
Okay. So, of the 4 guys who have set this bank up, all 4 have done stints in Pakistan, but maybe 3 years, 5 years of the total of the 27 years. One guy is there 27 years, the rest is just 10 years. The younger people, so they've done some work in Pakistan, but they're all abroad right now.
And do those people have relationships in place with, not, I guess, the beneficiaries, but the addressable population? It's one thing to be from a super affluent family in Karachi,
Okay,
right,
so,
versus,
So two observations or caveats. One is, can a guy who's working in investment banking, Wall Street, 4 financial centers of the world, be able to translate that and start financing buffaloes? Okay, and look at the bottom of the pyramid, the customer behavior is very different versus, so you're looking for the transition from working with the finance ministers of a country to financing buffaloes. And the second thing is, you're used to a high level of salary, power, being city bankers in emerging markets gives you a certain amount of cachet. You want an appointment with large corporate to say yes. And now you're talking about these guys changing from those posh city group rental, to offices to a hole in the wall office and starting a business from there. Another caveat, none of these guys have been entrepreneurs, they've been salaried people all their lives. And so have their parents, and so have their grandparents. So there is no legacy of a business environment in their family. For a bet on that? Who wants to take a bet on that? Nobody? Okay, so some people did take a bet on that. So I was sitting in Dubai and we thought about going back to Pakistan. I'd worked 27 years in the Citigroup and we said, what can we do where we can create a legacy? What can we do to actually make an impact? All of us have been relatively successful in Citigroup and we wanted to go back. And we thought that we could create a bank, although we had no experience, which would be one of the most profitable banks. But I think the questions you raised are very valid. What about the point that this team was willing to put $1 million of their own money in this bank before asking for other people for money? Would that make a difference to you when you're looking at a startup? How much skin an individual team has in the game? Is it going to compensate for the lack of experience and the transition risk you're going to take? Okay, so if I were you, I wouldn't bet on them either, okay? Because that's too much of a bet. But the only thing that would really work for them is that they're putting their livelihood on stake. So, I mean, you can work for Citibank, maybe, at that time I was worth $3 million. After 27 years, you don't make a lot of money. It was options. And I put actually the entire amount into that. So it was a very risky proposition, but it worked out, but may have gone the other way. We went to the central bank, and what do you think the central bank said? You have to get a license. You want to be a microfinance bank, you have to lend. What do they say? Was it positive, negative, apprehensive? Well, one of the others. Take a shot. What do you think they said?
No.
No? Brad, what do you think?
I would think they would be apprehensive just because financial services is a touchy and sensitive sector. So unless you have like proven track record or some sort of firm reason and connection for that you'll be successful, I think people will often push you off.
So the central bank governor actually was very excited. He felt that there was not institutional competence in the industry, and 4 guys with a ton of institutional experience coming back would be able to create something which other entities would replicate, bring more capital into Pakistan, and because the central bank has a very strong monitoring process on institutions that take deposits, they felt comfortable that they could monitor the performance of these guys if they were, getting off the farm. And therefore, the central bank told them verbally, we'll give you a license if you can raise the money. Right? So now the issue is these 4 guys only have $1 million. One guy has $1 million, the rest of them don't want to invest. And you want to have a majority position in this institution. So how do you structure with $1 million a majority position in a $10 million raise? Come on, all you guys have worked before. I'm told that you have experience, you're going to be impact investors, you're going to come prospective, which is going to be zany. What do you think?
Could you maybe structure it such that the $9 million is in the form of debt, but it is convertible into equity upon achievement of certain milestones?
Alright, so yeah, you could do a convertible with somebody, but they would be taking equity risk. Yes, possible. So I actually lucked out. I've been working in the Middle East. I was country manager for Iraq. I had just finished the sovereign debt restructuring of Iraq, which the US was very keen for the private sector to do. And I dealt with an institution called OPIC, which is a US organization which provides debt funding to interests which have entities which have US interests of at least 25%. So my plan was to take debt from them at a holding company level, so it was debt, they will take that money down from the holding company level as an investment, along with my $1 million, take $5 million from them and have $6 million investment, and own 60% of the entity. So OPEC was actually very generous. They agreed to this one level below because it was actually equity, but they agreed to this because they'd been very happy with the performance this team had done, with this Iraq sovereign restructuring. So I was very fortunate, but they were very cagey as well because they wanted the money back, so they asked for a personal guarantee. Would you give that? It's the basis of which you're going to get this $5 million from OPEC. And if you have that $5 million, you add your $1 million, you have 60% ownership, you still have to raise $4 million. Would you do that? Would you give your personal guarantee? That means if the bank failed, you are personally liable. Okay, so if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to take these risks. You're going to put a lot of stuff on the line because that's where you're going to be able to raise money. And normal business risk reward, you say you're crazy, why would you do a personal guarantee? But if you want to create a bank and you have belief and confidence that you're going to make this thing worth a lot more, you do that. I'm not suggesting what you do, but that's what I did. So I signed that note for them personally. I got $5 million. Now is $5 million enough? How am I going to pay that money back? Remember, the money is at the holding company level, not at the bank level. How am I going to service that interest? It's not an interest-free loan. They're not Sharia compliant lenders of it. So how am I going to pay that? How do you structure this? Okay, you should take more money to pay for the interest. Right? So you take a $6.5 million loan because you want to service your debt through dividends that come up from the bank. The bank is only going to give dividends when it's profitable. Microfinance banks take at least 3 years to become profitable. So you want to get additional money or you get interest waiver so that let's get loaded at the time after 3 years start paying that. So that's how the deal got structured. So this team owns 60%. You still have $4 million left. So do you think it's a good idea to get an anchor investor? Guys who are doing impact investing. Do you think anchor investors make any difference in the credibility of a raise? So if you're doing bottom of the pyramid kind of lending, who would you like as an anchor investor? You You want Citibank in there, you want Morgan Stanley in there, or do you want IFC in there? IFC is the World Bank's investment arm. Who would you like?
INSEAD.
IFC, because obviously you get so much more credibility that if you're able to bring it. So remember when you're doing an assessment, you're going to see other than the skin in the game of the entrepreneur, do they have an anchor investor? And if you have that one anchor investor, the rest will go. So we were able to raise $1 million from IFC as 10%. So now at IFCs we had $7 million. We still needed $3 million. Would you charge or try and charge a premium on that? And if so, why would anybody pay you premium? Premium means that you're telling them instead of giving you 30% equity available, instead of $3 million, you're going to give me $4 million.
That potentially you can charge a premium given the anchor supportive people, IFC is a mix and whatnot.
So it's all sequential. So now that you put in 6 million, so you're telling me I'm putting 6 million of my own money, and guess what? The World Bank believes in me. IFC is putting in $1 million. So if you guys want to come in, I'm going to line up people over here. You have to pay a premium. So you can extract a premium. So even at startups, you can extract a premium. Let me give you another example. So we started a company called Tejas Financial Services. Tejas Financial Services takes data from your smartphone with your consent, and within 12 minutes approves you based on data on your smartphone, none of which may be financial. It's just usage of your phone. I'll come back with technology change. We put in $500,000, the company was valued at $5 million. So this world has changed where if you have a smart idea and if you have a track record of delivery, people will value your company. Tejas is now doing a Series A where we're looking for a valuation of $20 million. This is within a 12-month period. So, this valuations have very changed over the 15-20 years. But if you have a proof of concept and you demonstrate that it works, you're looking for growth capital, then you get that. And this is the biggest impact investment thing you could do because you're giving money to the people who have no FICO score, who have no credit history. You don't know if they are they're employed or not. You're taking the risk just based on the algorithm that you create between good and bad customers, based on smartphone data. I'll come back to that because it's one of the biggest problems the world has is 2.5 million people don't have access to credit in this world of ours. A lot of them would be better credit risk than some of the people that currently have credit. So Tami got created, as I said, $10 million capital. How many of you have assessed a microfinance bank? Okay, so what's the real challenge in microfinance? Is it bad debt? No, the assumption is as you go down the income chain, people become more delinquent. Yes? No? What do you think? What do you think?
I'm thinking, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, the examples of traveling back from that.
So you think poor people are better credit than middle income and rich people?
Well, their life is at stake, so they would do anything to repay the debt.
Okay. So what he's saying is that they're more responsible in terms of their image. If you lend to them and you don't over-indebt them, they will pay you back. That's exactly what happens if you look at default rates globally of microfinance banks versus commercial banks or consumer banks. The default rate is a fraction of that. So default is not the challenge. How does a microfinance customer have a balance sheet and income statement audited by Deloitte? No, guess not. Do they have a broker report because they're listed in the market? No. So how am I going to assess that? So you go into a small shop and the guy says, I want $500 loan. All right. And you said, okay, give me your financials. I don't have financials. He said, okay, you must have a brokerage report. I don't have that. So, how about, some write-up on you and everything. I don't have that. So how are you going to assess that, shop? Take a guess. What do you want? So if you're going to give him money, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? If you give somebody money, what do you want to know about it?
Is making profit?
Yeah, how are you going to pay you back? Yeah, so really what you want to figure out is what the debt burden is. So if you go into a shop, now is that a private limited company, is it LLC, what kind of legal vehicle would it be?
A shop?
Yeah, a guy running one of those small shops.
It would be like a sole entrepreneur.
Yeah, sole entrepreneur. So do you think he segregates the expenses of his shop with his household expenses? And do you think he's living in a joint family with their 4 brothers, 3 sisters, 1 grandmother, and 7 children? Most likely. I mean, if you're talking about emerging markets, so then you got to figure out how you're going to assess their repayment capability, and that's the biggest challenge in terms of the expense that a microfinance bank spends. Is to how to determine the purpose of the individual's ability to pay you back. So if you're impact investors, then you're going to look at somebody who's doing microfinance or bottom of the pyramid kind of stuff. You've got to look at their underwriting methodology. How are they going to assess the risk of lending to the people? That's your biggest thing, because that is going to be that risk, and how much cost are they going to spend in acquiring that customer. Microfinance rates are very high, they're about 35-40%. In Africa, they go to 60%. Latin America also, they're high. When money market rates are under 10%. And the reason that happens is that you have very high administration costs. Why do you have high administration costs? Why are the administration costs so high?
Because your ticket's really low, so you need to assess a lot of.
Yeah, so commercial banks lend $1 million, you lend $100. And in order to lend $100, you've got to do a lot more legwork. You don't have any of those technology-driven solutions, reports that allow you to make that credit system. So anyway, I'm going to telescope the Tavid story. So we started conventional lending, individual lending, and we started creating branch networks, and we wanted to scale much faster, but we figured out we didn't have the capital to be able to open branches and scale. But we knew that customers wanted to be able to transfer money amongst each other. There were international remittances coming in, and we wanted to be able to do part of that, but in order to do that, we needed a network. And we only had like 100 branches. But if you want to do scale, you need a lot more branches than that. So what should we look at? Okay, so let me see, because you guys are in a world where prepaid phone credit probably exists but is not used. In emerging markets, 99% of phones are on prepaid basis. That means you have to individually go and get a top-up card or top up your credit physically at a shop, as opposed to postpaid, which is a plan that you pay on a monthly basis out of your account. So if I have a country or most emerging market where you prepaid, where are you going to go and get this card?
Like anywhere, any little shop or
any shop. So every telco is going to have a huge distribution network, because that's how they're going to be able to sell you cards. So every remote village, every small place, there's going to be some shop that's going to sell you card, because that's how they're going to be able to make their money. So there's a railroad that exists from telco players who are selling cards. So how do you want to leverage that? Can you make that into a branch, a banking agent?
So isn't it similar to M-Pesa in Myanmar, where they're like you can load balances on your card?
Yeah, so what you're saying is that you heard of other people's money, you want to move to other people's railroad. So you want to be able to use the telco agent as a place where you can do a cash in, cash out, you can make domestic remittances. And we created a product called ex-INSEAD that allowed you to send money between Pakistan, under 1 minute to 90,000 locations, because that's what the network was. So you came in and you had a feature phone and you just said, because you got there's something called a universal identifier in Pakistan and in India and in Bangladesh, where everybody has a card with the picture on it, with the date of birth and the chip associated with it, so you can identify them. You just have to give the beneficiary's chip number and your number, and the money got transferred. And that became the biggest product for ex-INSEAD. It's one of the largest projects for Paytm right now. It's a big product for M-Pesa, and it's very big in Africa, because you are totally bypassing the conventional banking system. So you don't want physical branches, limited to physical branches of existing banks. You're switching to other people's railroad. So I'm going to switch from here. And any question on Tavid? Because I'm going to get into what we're doing right now. It's much more exciting, because that, anyway, net result, to make it exciting for those of you who did invest, Tavid was valued at $100 million. So that's the exit value we exited at. And a year right now it's valued at $410 million. Okay, so yeah.
Yes, sir. Are you paying like a commission to the
agent?
to the
Yeah, of course. So if you make $1, 70 cents goes to the shop. They're not going to do this unless you pay them. Then 30 cents left is split between the bank and the teller. So everybody makes money on this, and it's every time you do a transaction, the agent gets paid. So Tabir Exit was actually a very success story. It was the first institutional entity where there's a trade sale of a bank to a telco, and it went very well. So from that money that the team got, and I got, we created Planet N. And Planet N, we believe, is a much bigger play for financial inclusion. So the second stuff we're going to do together right now is maybe will be more challenging for the impact investors here. We want to create a company that's going to solve the financial inclusion issue of this 2.5 billion people in the world with no access to credit. Why don't they have access to credit? And the guys who were with me this morning can't answer. Okay. Why if you go to Chase right now and you make an application, what are they going to look at before they lend you?
My credit score.
Your credit score, right? And how are you going to get credit score?
Records of financial transactions,
Financial
credit card.
transactions. So you've never borrowed money, you don't have a credit score. Is the commercial bank going to lend you? Okay. So what about the people at the bottom of the pyramid? Do you think they have a credit score? They don't, because they've never been part of a financial transaction. Now they pay utility bills. Okay, that's the closest they come to a financial transaction. But not all utility payments information is available to the bank. The bank is looking for, because they're so blinded, a credit history. But these guys don't have a credit history.
Another thing is because the size of the loan is so low,
Yeah.
to initiate it's very costly. Like in India, for example, you have to do KYC, which in itself costs the institution like 50 rupees or something.
Absolutely right. So these are people who are known as the long tail customer. That means you're going to make very small amount of money in there, but you've got to have a scale to be able to, make money for them. And your business model is like that. You're going to be selling, one tea bag at a time, as opposed to a box. And your business model has to show that just selling one tea bag at a time makes you money. Okay, so we are going to create an algorithm that takes data from your phone and asks you certain psychometric questions and scrapes all the data on your phone with your consent and come up with a FICO score. And then this company is going to underwrite that FICO score. It's going to create its own credit bureau and say, this is the score. This score translates in X amount of loss. If it goes beyond that, we'll pay you. How many people are going to invest in that? Impact investors. You want to invest in this company? My God, you guys are so conservative in your view. Yes.
I want to know more about the model.
Okay, so let's go. Ask me about the model. All of you, ask me about this.
So like what kind of psychometric traits?
Okay, so I'm going to see whether you play poker games or you watch football. I'm going to see what you watch National Geographic or you're watching violent movies. I'm going to see you have more outgoing calls or incoming calls. I'm going to see if you have a close circle of friends, which is more than 30 or 40. I'm going to see if you call your family, immediate family, more often than not. I'm going to see how active you are on social media. I'm going to see is your phone on 24 hours a day or maybe 12 hours a day. I'm going to see if you have a GPRS pattern that's regular or erratic. I'm going to take a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm going to make a contract with you. The first contract is when I get this data, I'm going to give you some airtime as consideration. My second piece of contract, I'm going to say, I'm going to create a persona for you and I'm going to share that with you. So you know exactly the persona I've created of you. Third thing, I'm going to say that if I'm going to take your data and put it in the credit bureau, I'm going to get your consent and you have the right to say no. The fourth thing I'm going to say to you is that if I make money from that sale of your, credit bureau bank comes and gets the thing, I'm going to share that sale with you. So now I'm giving you the ability to control your data and I'm also sharing the money I make from you. So I'm not doing a Google, Facebook kind of play, I'm saying I'm going to share this with you and I'm giving you control over your data. So that's the model as far as the individual customer privacy and rights are concerned.
Is that model, is it tethered to the phone or to SIMs? Because I know like in a lot of, if you're switching in and out of SIMs, are you gonna be able to track that when people are swapping out?
So it's tethered to both. I look at the IMEI number of your phone and I also have your phone number. So if you switch, then I'll have the phone number. If you put a new SIM in, I still know it's the same customer. And unfortunately, it has to be a smartphone because I can't get this data from a feature phone. But what am I trying to do? What am I trying to do? Yeah, so I'm saying that this 2.5 billion people are never going to get a FICO score because no one's going to lend to them. And we're going to try to find a way to break that assumption that a credit score is only a function of credit borrowing. We're looking at behavior to proxy a credit score. And we're also saying that these 2.5 billion people, fintechs like Tez or Planet can never have the funding ability to meet their needs. We want to get to a product which a conventional bank or a Chase or a Citi will lend to against. So we want to get that level of confidence. So because these banks are so innovative and because they haven't innovated since the earth cooled, you've got to create something that's going to be, you're going to take the dough, you're going to knead it, you're going to put the topping, you're going to warm the pizza, you're going to give them a cutter and put it on their desk and say, please, will you now bite? So that's the end product you want. You're going to create your own business model because you're going to use the same algorithm, but because you can't satisfy the entire market and you are financial inclusion champions. Because I could say we'll just make it for Tez and won't give it to anybody, and that's our proprietary source. But I'm saying, no, we take as much as we can, but we can't fund everybody. We're going to give the rest to the market through a credit bureau we create. We still make money, but we're going to share this algorithm with the market so anybody can use it. So, ask me more about this model. Yes?
How is your product differentiated from some of the other competitors, like a Tala or something like that?
So, Tala is doing lending, but they're not sharing their score with anybody. So, Tala is saying, I'm going to create my algorithm based on my secret source, and I'm going to lend to you people. What we are saying is, we're going to do that, but we believe that there's such a big demand which we can't satisfy. We're going to go beyond that and make our algorithm available to a market. And we stand behind it because if I go to the market and say Planet score says this person is going to default 10% range, people will say, yeah, why should we believe that? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to stand behind it. And I have to have enough capital initially to people say, okay, when they come in, that we have ability to, make them good. So that's because I'm saying you are financial inclusion champions. And if you don't want to be that, you just create your algorithm and just keep it to yourself. But you don't solve the problem. Maybe Tez is going to have 10 million customers, but the number of people required is about 70 million. So how do I solve that? Okay? Yes?
How are the conclusions being drawn from the cell phone usage data about repayment risk?
How
are the conclusions being drawn? Like, is there research out there that shows like this type of movie watching?
Okay, so we're going to build this company together. We'll get to that, how we actually going to do this. For those who are entrepreneurs, and those who are impact investors, challenge the assumption even more. So, what's your big concern? Yes?
So doesn't it require a large amount of data about the, borrowing records of people who don't have it in order to understand how these certain factors influence their ability to pay back a loan, which you don't necessarily have access to?
Okay, so are we going to have enough data to create an algorithm?
When you have this data, is there enough server space? Well, one, is it domestic to Pakistan, and within Pakistan, is there the server space and whatnot, the technological capability to house all of this?
Yeah, so let's agree that across the emerging markets and including the US, you have 50 million people who are financially excluded here. So I don't have to go very far from your campus to find a whole slew of people, and I won't find a bank branch and nobody's lending to them. They're redlined. But not maybe all of them are bad credit. Okay? We certainly found that in emerging markets, the people who are financially excluded are not necessarily bad credit. So as an impact investor, you're going to ask me, hey, all right, this is a great concept. You woke at 3 o'clock, you were jet lagged, so share with us what you're smoking. But at the same time, you're going to say, what's your expertise? You have AI expertise, machine learning, deep learning. So you say, yeah, we have 75 data scientists. Okay, and we've created algorithms for banks for default prediction. We've created algorithms for telcos for churn prediction. We've created algorithms for Chevron for diversity hiring. We've created algorithms for Walmart for product launch which has never been sold before. And we've created, this is my favorite story. So I'm Dunkin' Donuts, and Shah's heard this 100 times, so I'm going to give that history. So I'm Dunkin' Donuts, and every morning I sell donuts, and every morning I get a list of inventory of donuts, which pretty much priced the same, sometimes different. And end of the evening, I have a list of what's being sold. So I know which category of each donut being sold, and I know my total inventory. But what I don't know is the combination in which they're sold. So if they price the same, if the guy just goes and taps 5 donuts, but I don't know which are honey glazed, which are stuff in it. But why would I want to know what the combination is? Is it important? Is it of value? Yeah? Good answer, 50-50, see what you like. Risk taker. Yeah, you want to know always what the combination is. You know what your best selling product is, and if you can add users with it, or you want to give a deal, so you always want to know what the combination is. But they're all priced the same. Can I put a barcode on a donut so we'll track it? Now let's say an edible barcode kind of difficult. Okay? And if I, individually started looking at their pricing and tag it up with the whole queue. So how do I track this? How do I find out what combination people buy at my donut set?
Well, we can price them differently.
Yeah, I could, then obviously, then I know. But even then, then I have to see it, and not two donuts would have to be priced the same. Okay, so I'll have to always have differences. But there's a more elegant solution.
Implement image recognition.
Sorry?
Image recognition.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to surprise you. Facial recognition. Do a facial recognition on the donuts. You all look different. So you have a camera on top that recognizes each time the tray goes out of the sale and recognizes which donuts are sold in that combination. So that's AI for you. Simple solution, but facial recognition used for donuts. Anyway, so we've got that in a track record as well. We're also working on some other very, very imaginative AI, and this is the project we're on. So in response to you, we've got the expertise to develop algorithms. So whether this algorithm would work or not, don't know, but we have the expertise. So now what do you think about this company? What's the other assumption this company is making? They're expecting 2 or 3 big assumptions, right? So what are the 3 big assumptions this company is making as they launch this business? We agree, okay, so objective is create a FICO score based on phone data and psychometric questions, and the score is, you have to be so confident that you're willing to underwrite or you lose your shirt. So that's one assumption, that's the objective. So what's the assumption that we're making over here? How are we going to monetize this? How are we going to make money in this? And how are we going to reduce financial inclusion? Come on guys, you're financial inclusion people. We imagined it. There's no wrong answer. We imagined it. Yes.
We also want to know how you get your customers. Why are they going to sign up for you?
Okay, so you're a financially excluded customer. I'm going to come and tell you that, guess what? I'm going to create a score from you and you'll be able to borrow. And I'm going to pay you for the score and I'm giving you control over your data and I'm going to share, even if nobody lends to you, but if your data, if banks come and check on your name, I'm going to share that money with you. You want to be interested?
I'd be a little bit skeptical, but potentially interested.
Okay, alright. So, because the difference is that I'm actually doing a contract where I'm giving you the power, because when I do your persona, I give you a score, you say, don't put me in the credit bureau. So you have that option. So I'm giving you the power to decide if you want to be in the credit bureau or not. So I'm reducing the reduction of uptake risk from potential 2.5 billion people. But who's going to come and hit me on the credit bureau?
Regulator.
Sorry?
Regulator.
So I'm going to get a license for a credit bureau from the regulator, which is the minimum $2 million, in Pakistan, and I'm going to meet my minimum requirement. But who are going to be my customers in the credit bureau? So
Financial institutions.
yeah, so remember we talked about this? We said that the real people you want to come into this business because it's not their model, they don't know how to assess, $10 loans or $50 loans, and the infrastructure is so expensive that they don't want to do this. You want to give them the pizza which is ready for eating. So I'm saying, here's the credit bureau, here's a score, I'm standing behind it, lend to this person. So that's the assumption I need to make sure that a Chase Manhattan or a Bank of America or a Citibank, if I do this in your city here, and I do parts of New York, which is financially excluded, and I create this algorithm, would they want to lend to those people? Yes or no? What do you think?
So I have a question. question. You're creating the score and you're actually not lending, right?
We are lending. How do you think we are lending as well, but we are also giving the market the benefit of our experience from our actual lending on our balance sheet.
So if I have seen a track record of you lending to them first, that a decent track record of score being credible, then I would definitely be willing to use score.
Okay. So one of the challenges for this to succeed is that you need to demonstrate to the market that you've lent against this, or you're guaranteeing it, as I said. So one or the other, we will do both because it's such a novel thing. Telling a commercial banker who are very, very smart, okay, that's a joke, that they, will immediately get this. You've got to make it so easy because I said these guys are not pushed. Now some of them maybe I'm generalizing because I criticize myself because I spent 27 years being on the other side. And I know how much motivated we were towards the bottom of the pyramid. Okay? So, now the world's changing, so maybe Citibank will say, hey, guess what? We criticize for redlining, we criticize for not going to these areas. Here's the financial model, and it works, and they're selling behind a great opportunity for me to demonstrate that I'm equitable, I lend to everybody, not just, the areas where there's a low crime and stuff like that.
As a financial institution, as Citibank, I would be a little bit afraid of the risks.
Okay.
Because although your company is behind the algorithm and you would guarantee the risk for the bank, both your company and the bank are subject to the same risks in the market. So if your algorithm is wrong, probably your company will go down and you won't be able to guarantee the money that I'm lending.
Okay, sorry. So I'm a commercial bank, I'm worth $100 million, I'll give a fund for $1 million. Okay, if $1 million, $10 loan, then I have 10 million customers. So I'm willing to take that risk, because it's a small part of my exposure. Yes, sir.
If I'm Citi and I just wanted to get my image up, I would just partner with you, give you the money, advertise it everywhere, have you take on the risk of my image goes up.
So when you say you give me the money, you give me a lending line, or you want to take equity in my company?
I would guess what makes more sense. I would probably lend you money and publicize it everywhere.
But if I go down, you don't get any money because that's what matters. So you're still taking risk on my algorithm, except that you're lending me money instead of lending that money in your balance sheet yourself. So you're still on the hook. So my sense is commercial banks that we've spoken to are very excited. If we can get to a level and if we also demonstrate that we use this algorithm ourselves and we have a company that's actually lending in the market based on this, and we demonstrate that lost long they've got to, they're very, very excited. They are central bank is on their case in most emerging markets to lend to the bottom of the pyramid. And they don't, because they don't have the know-how, and we're giving them the know-how on a platter. Now your question should be, why are we giving them this know-how? Why don't I just, go for a $100 million raise and get a deadline for another $900 million and have a $1 billion funding ability and just go after this myself? Why am I sharing this with the market?
I think the market is so big that it's very hard for just one institution to.
Yeah, but I've built my secret sauce away. I've done all this hard work. I've taken the initial risk. I've taken the hits on the defaults. Why am I doing
So I
it?
think adding more institutions adds credibility. So it's like a network effect. Really strengthens your score if 5 institutions are backing it, and then everyone lends and they all make money. So other people get attracted. So inherently, your score becomes the central piece of this entire revolution. So you become actually more stronger if a lot of people use your score.
Okay. Anyway, would you invest in this? Would you take a risk on this? Would you invest in this company? I'm raising $1 million. You want to be part of this? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is high risk, you know that, but it's never been done. In the world, it hasn't been done. But do you think this is a global solution or a local solution? So this is the global solution, but the caveat is that I'll have to test it in every country. And if we have to test it in every country, we need a legal lending vehicle. So what if I told you guys, all these people over here in your micro club, let's do this in New York. You think you got financially excluded people in New York? You think they want a cell phone?
Yeah.
You think they want access to credit? No? Yes?
Yes.
What do you think? Yeah? So, I mean, I'm saying it doesn't have to be for emerging markets alone. In the US alone, you've got 50 million people. You could create a financial model in the US. But you people have heard of GDPRs? So GDPR is the regulation that Europe has come out against data privacy after the lovely work that Google and Facebook and all these people have done in terms of customer privacy, customer data protection, and the requirements in terms of approval you need. So we're going to create something from day one which is GDPR compliant. My sense is, I'm very honest, my sense this is $1 billion company. So if you have 100 million customers, you're charging $1 a pop, which commercial banks will easily pay, you're making $1 million or $100 million a year. So how much should we raise right now? We're all agreed, this is something that you want to take a punt on? Maybe you lose some money. So how much percent of startups fail? 95% of startups fail. The entrepreneurs don't fail, startups. How many of you, why don't you want to do a startup? How many of you want to do a startup? Yeah, it's going to be okay. So, your first company, 95% is going to fail. Okay, and maybe you get it right, but chances are that you're going to fail, but doesn't mean you're going to learn from that and do your next company. If that fails, you're going to be a third company, and if you really want to do this, you'll get there. We invested in 21 companies, we shut down 7 companies. And we thought we were very smart that we won't fall in this 95% thing, we get every company working very well. This, in my view, is the biggest idea if you want to get into social impact, if you want to do financial reduction, this is the biggest idea anybody can work on. We're going to work on it. But we're trying to do this smart. So if I want to do this, should I, do you have any?
Yeah, I was going to ask you because at least in Argentina and a lot of people don't have smartphones, especially the people that need their money. So how do you manage to?
So in the first iteration, I need a smartphone. But in most smartphone prices now down in emerging markets to about $15. Okay, and if you look at the trend of imports, even the poorest of poor countries, the component of smartphone going up is increasing. China's created smartphones, which have less memory but the same functionality. So this whole thing about feature phone is getting reduced every month. Smartphones are increasing. So we are restricted to smartphones right now. I can lend money to people based on feature phone as well, but the algorithms will be less accurate. So I need the smartphone to go in. So what I'm saying is we're going to create this company. Should I do? Yes.
Sorry, it's a little technical, but do you allow people to be reviewed again, if they don't get a good score, and then in a year they want to try again?
Absolutely. We'll develop this company. We're creating this company. So we want to be as customer friendly because we're creating this from the bottom of the pyramid. So we're going to make money in the process, but we really want. If we didn't want to do this, we would have just kept the source ourselves and just kept the algorithm to ourselves. And most companies do that. They create something. They don't need market validation. They just keep doing their own product. Okay, so do you want a partner? Do you want some kind of stamp on this from somebody other than yourself? Your Planet N, who knows what Planet N is in Argentina or in Africa or other parts? Maybe they were Easy Pesa, but not certainly on Planet N. So you want to partner with somebody who's got credibility to say, okay, this is a big project and these guys are with us? Yes,
you want to actually a group of international recognition.
So you want to find a partner. You want to do something this radical, which is at the bottom of the pyramid, you want to find somebody who's working at the bottom of the pyramid. And within the World Bank group, there's something called CGAP, Consultant Group for the Poor, and that's what the people we were talking to yesterday. And we wanted to partner with them. And we said, come along with it because it's the biggest thing. And we can share our glory with them because you have an anchor like that. When you for an anchor investor, you want an anchor who's also going to be sharing your idea for something like this. Now, the question of money. Okay, it's going to take us $1 million to get the app ready, to do the research and go to the market, at least $1 million. How do I raise this $1 million?
Impact investors.
Sorry?
Impact
investors. So, what do I value the company at if I'm going to raise $1 million? I've got nothing right now. All I've got is an idea in my head, and I'm going to write some, put some nice infographics around it. But infographics are very powerful, and try and get this company valued. So, obviously, do you want to give most of the equity away right now? this upside and this is going to just blow people's mind if you get it right. Okay, because you're going to take it to every country and you're going to provide a solution for those large commercial banks to actually start lending. And you're going to be, nominated for the Nobel Prize maybe, because you're going to have the biggest impact since Dr. Yunus did in creating Microfinance and Grameen Bank, because it's going to be bigger. You're going to have to impact more people. So how do you want to play this?
Put some of the upside you participated in from the last investment, do it.
Do it all yourself, don't raise any money.
I mean, you need the anchor contributor to lend credibility to the extent that
$1 million of your own money?
I mean, if it's only $1 million and you cash out at $100 million, it seems like a lot.
I only own 29%.
Gotcha.
And I have expenses. Okay, no, alright. So what's another way other than raising? I'm going to raise money because you can clearly we'll have to put some money in because you always impact investors should always look at skin in the game. And skin in the game just is not intellectual unless the guy has demonstrated time and time again that he or she can deliver. Then you say, okay, intellectual expertise is good enough. I'm going to go with you and put money because I know you deliver. But some amount is going to be required in this. Yes.
I mean, if you, because I do think, just like you're saying, if you're an investor, you'd expect the entrepreneur to put money behind their effort. You could also just raise grant capital potentially for a pilot to prove out the algorithm.
If this man, I'm going to go to USAID, I'm going to go to UKID, I'm going to go to all Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'm going to go to India Foundation, I'm going to say, guys, you're claiming you want to reduce financial exclusion. What bigger chance than this? Give me a grant. Maybe I get $500,000 grant. That reduces my exposure by $500,000. I get CCAP to come in as a partner, and I don't raise any money right now, I don't give any equity away. Or I tell Bill and Melinda Gates, why would Bill and Melinda Gates come in? Why do you think? This is a foundation, you would put like $1 billion aside saying, we want to eradicate, illness in the world, we want to eradicate, financial inclusion. Why would they come in?
Well, it aligns with your goals and the world thinks.
Absolutely, because you're going to share this with them and you're going to make this secret sauce available to everybody at a cost. So they're not for non-for-profit, but if I was just doing it for myself, they say, well, it's your own money, you're going to make a lot of money, why should we lend you money? But if I say now, guess what, I'm going to make it available to the whole world, then there's some traction over there. So I think you can raise $500,000 to build Melinda Gates Foundation. And we can also go to CGAP and say, find us somebody who's going to give us an additional grant. Because there are many people who are always talking about financial exclusion. And here's an opportunity for funding something that has a chance of success. What do you want to charge for a query from the commercial lenders? How are you going to give this information to Citibanks and HSBCs and Bank of America's of the world? So you create an algorithm, you've tested it in your own company, it works. You can predict with a 90% confidence factor which customer is going to be which default band based on the score you come up with. It takes you a year to do that. You create an app which is already scraping information from a customer. So how much information do you think you take from your phone? How many data points do you think you take to create an algorithm? Do you know how much of your life exists in this phone? Do you know that the phone never deletes anything? We don't get that data, but you should know that the people who, those images you delete remain, in the ether. 12,000 data points. We pick up 12,000 data points. Now, as the algorithm develops, we figure out which are important, which are not. So, let me flip over. So, how am I going to develop this algorithm?
You give out a few hundred or thousands of loans, small loans, and
so this is my control group. I'm assuming you're from different socioeconomic sectors. I'm assuming they're blue collar workers, housewives, retirees, and students over here. Those are my segments which I think I'm going to be targeting. And I don't want a bias happening, so I don't go to one city, I go every place. and I give all of you $10. And I say, apply for a loan, and we're going to be assessing you, and all of you apply, and we don't assess, we give you $10. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Why am I giving everybody a loan? I'm not even assessing you. You may be a negative in the credit bureau. You may have no employment. I'm just saying, give me your phone data, and I'm going to give you a loan for $10 for a month.
Then more expense to you, and you're collecting data points from them.
Exactly, you're collecting data points. So there's a cost for collecting data points. And once I have that end of the month, I have that data. I have 60% default, 10% fraud, 30% repayment. How does that help me? What do I do with that?
You can build a model off of the people, the qualities that you learned about the people to predict whether or not.
So the whole purpose of spending this $100,000 initially was that I create personas. And I look at the commonality of the 70% people who defaulted, is there any common thread in there? And I look at the 30% who've paid, is there a common thread? That the algorithm is creating a persona on which it's going to keep building on for the next, as long as it lives, and to determine who to reject and who to approve. So there are many common traits that's going to happen between the people who defaulted. So what are some of the common traits? So we found out the first pilot we did for 10,000 people that people who default have more incoming calls than outgoing calls. What does that mean?
But when you're doing the outbound calls, you're the one that's coming from your recharge card versus theirs.
So how do you get more incoming than outgoing?
You don't call people, or you text them. Miss call. Yeah.
These are missed call characters who call you once and hang up. Oh, I called you, and then you expect them to call from their data package. So this was the big commonality of people who didn't pay back. It's a mentality issue that was being demonstrated. You know, one of the biggest commonalities. People who didn't pay us were people who had a very small circle of friends. So in Kenya, and we're finding out that there's a magic number. In Kenya, it was 36. So if you are in constant touch with, in Kenya, this number can change country, with 36 people of your closest friends, your propensity to default reduced by 6%. So people who defraud didn't have this number of close circle of friends. There were maybe 10 people, 5 people they were constantly speaking to. People who defaulted weren't calling their parents, siblings as often as people who paid us. Now this is just the first pilot. Now this is going to get more defined.
Are you accounting for the ability to call over different apps and not just?
Yeah, phone looks at, technology looks at many things. And then we learn this is the first, pilot. The second pilot, we're using 50% the algorithm and 50% still blind because we're too early in the game to completely. But the algorithm is already starting to forecast. Our default rate has gone down from 60% to 40% in the second pilot just by using this algorithm. So the algorithm constantly learns to pick up persona. That's why we're looking for data. We will bring this default rate down to 8 to 10% over a 12-month period. So 8 to 10% people will always default. But remember, you're giving somebody a loan in their hand in 12 minutes. Even if you apply for a credit card here, how long will it take before you get approved? Pretty quick, I suppose. But in Pakistan, it takes new to the industry guy 1 month. In India, maybe 15, 20 days. But if you're using this, we're talking about minutes. So this is the digital journey you're changing for the customer. I think you guys, if you're going to be in impact investing, if you're going to be entrepreneurs, if you're going to be people who are going to work in the financial inclusion space, you're going to find it very rewarding. There are many ways of making money, but if you make money and you change people's lives at the same time, you sleep well at night. If you work in something with a double bottom line, it's definitely better than single bottom line. And if you get it right and you create your own company, you can get serious wealth as well. Yes.
I'm curious, just going back to what we were just talking about, I guess, as you see it, is the innovation the algorithm or just the creation of the initial data set? Because they're two separate points, and one might be more defensible than the other, or one might not be as
But the
defensible.
creation of the initial data set is useless to me unless my algorithm can use it for any purpose. So, I have access to your phone data, I ask you to ask 5 psychometric questions, and you respond. So I've got that data. It's easy for me to scrape data on your phone if you take my app. Okay, so, and that's already being done by Google, by Instagram, by all these guys, people you have on your phone. They know everything about your life. They can even turn your speaker on and your camera on without you knowing it. So, this is all things happening. But anyway, we take that for granted. That's the contract we have. This is not free. That's the contract we give our lives up, when we get these free, things. But it's the algorithm that's the real value. And it's not easy creating it, and you need to be able to test it. So the value is the IP of the algorithm. And once we've got that, you can let yourself, again, maybe, what, I'm going to leave soon, but track this development on LinkedIn. I'm going to have a short 10 minutes to talk about what we're doing. I'll do a little bit more, if any, couple of last questions, and see how this thing progresses. And maybe nothing will come out of it. Okay? But my sense is we're going to create something very exciting. And you are probably the second bunch of people who know about it. Shah? Sorry, go ahead.
Speaking of we're the second group that knows about it, do you know of any other groups? It seems like a really great idea, right? There's so many people and everybody, pretty much everyone has a smartphone. Do you know of anyone else that's experimenting with similar algorithms or testing the similar technology?
Yeah, we've heard of people who started working on this, but there's one big thing that you need to have. Everybody can create an app to scrape data, and there are smart data scientists who can create this, but you need a legal vehicle to be able to test it. No one's going to buy your score unless you've done it and tested yourself. So we've got now in 3 countries nano lending vehicles, which we're doing ourselves, which is using a more simpler algorithm. Nobody I know has done that. So we've got people who create algorithms lending for themselves, but not for the market. And we've got people who are looking for the market, but don't have a lending vehicle. So this is not somebody who can replicate this. But you talk about 2.5 million people, you come up with 10 people. Jack Ma said, and I subscribe to this, what he said, is that you don't have to be the best, you can be the first. There's only one Olympic champion, not everybody here is going to be an Olympic champion. Everybody here can be the first in something that they can do and change the market. And first mover advantage is risk, but it's hugely advantageous. So you got to have confidence in yourself. You're beating up, fall down, stand up again. If you want to be in this business, you are going to fall down. But just stand up again and be successful. And the fact that you're actually looking at doing this, I think is great because you're going to be helping change this world rather than just make money. Okay, thank you. So this got get fat. Short question. Oh, you want to go? So yeah, short computer, but if I put everything I do on LinkedIn, and it's good. So if you just follow me on LinkedIn, you'll find your own picture there today as well. But other than that, every idea I have I put on LinkedIn because it's what we're going to share it, and if people can do it better than Planet M and our team, more power to them. Can you take any yeah, sorry.
So this summer we had 5 interns in the London office. We had 2 from Cambridge, 2 from Warwick, 1 from UCL. The reason we did it like that is we weren't really thinking of the interns themselves didn't have the bandwidth that summer to actually make a trip to our portfolio companies in Egypt, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates. But should people be interested in actually traveling to those areas, we can accommodate that as well. You can either be at our Cairo office, our UAE office, or in Pakistan, either at our offices or at one of our portfolio company offices. So the people we had this summer, we had 1 Cambridge student working on a cancer detection algorithm for a cancer hospital that we have a data science project with. We had 1 working on an open data initiative, scraping kind of open public data in the UK. We had 1 working on our new digital microfinance bank strategy, which is focused at the S of the SME. And we had another working on our Egyptian nano finance entity. So there's quite a, and then we had one working on a digital pharmacy and one working on our OTT media platform. So there's, whichever subsector of emerging markets tech you're interested in, if it falls within our portfolio, we'd be happy to accommodate some kind of research or internship, etc. So for those of you I don't have a chance to sort of kind of meet, I've given my and Nadeem and Lauren's details if you just want to take a picture of this rather than handing everyone. I'm not sure. For example, yeah. So anyway, so John has the presentation. He's going to send it around. These are Nadeem's details. And these are Lauren. Lauren is our board advisor, and she heads up our healthcare vertical as well. So just to give you a quick overview, this is our portfolio. These are the kind of sectors the companies fall into. All of these are on our website, and each one has their own website. So what I would encourage is either John can share you the presentation, you can read about the portfolio companies, or you can just click through the logos on the website, and the website sort of covers a lot of that as well. So our main offices, as I mentioned, London, Egypt, UAE, Pakistan, but we do have team members and representatives in other parts of the world. So you can either work remotely from wherever, and if remotely happens to be somewhere where we have a team member or representative, then you can also have some interface with them. You can be at one of our offices, or you can do it completely remotely, working directly with our CEOs through Skype and phone, etc. And that's what a lot of our internships, that's what all our 5 UK internships were this summer. And again, within our portfolio, everything falls into one of these buckets, and usually it's a mix. So it's obviously financial inclusion and economic empowerment, healthcare and education, development of digitization and innovation, and then democratization of pricing and labor markets in emerging markets too. And yeah, so John can share this with you, but it's sort of just kind of a bit of an overview, and we can offer things in term time to do a sort of real life case studies and ongoing research projects, and then also like more formal internships during your vacation periods. So yeah, just get in touch, and we really look forward to hearing from you guys.